So, I mean, tell us a wee bit about your background, Aimie. I mean, where are you coming from?
I'm originally from Aberdeen, but I've been down in the Central Belt for 5 odd years, apart from when I went to Canada for 18 months.
All right.
So I've kind of been travelling all over the place, it feels like, but I'm back in Scotland and happy.
So the film thing, where did it start for you?
Just always loved film, but kind of never felt it was something I could get into when I was growing up, because I didn't know anything about it. And then I studied in Dundee and started to meet filmmakers there, and I was like, maybe I can do this as well, kind of thing. So
of course you can.
Yeah, definitely. Just so once I started doing that, I've kind of been making films for the last like 6-7 years in my spare time.
Right. Well, that's a great achievement. And is it mainly shorts you're doing?
Primarily shorts, but hopefully working towards a debut feature film.
Right. Good. Good. Glad to hear it.
Terrifying.
And so, Olivia, you're a producer, one of the producers on Apple Tree. Tell us about how you got involved with it at the start and how you and Grant worked together.
Well, Grant and I had worked together before, but he had asked Ben Soper, who wrote the script, for a script that he could shoot fairly low budget in a fairly short amount of time. Grant's just going to stop me if I'm wrong with any of this. And Ben, who I've also worked with quite a bit before, it is like king of chamber piece scripts and high concept, low budget, kind of trying to insinuate a lot of different things through. So I suppose what I'm saying is he's good at writing scripts that don't necessarily call for huge numbers of people.
The golden rule of independent filmmaking, folks.
You know, the party scene, we didn't have that many actual party guests.
But you made good use of shadows.
Yeah,
See,
no, a lot of shadows.
Can I just say, I really loved the film. I've watched this film twice in the last 3 days. And not since I dropped acid at second year at school have I seen such a trippy thing. I really liked it formally, and I know that Grant sort of came out as an apology to say, oh, this film's a bit indulgent. But I actually think that it is channeling something that I think is quite zeitgeisty at the moment, which is this revival of the kind of 60s, 1970s hauntology, folklore, horror genre. And I say that because recently during the Glasgow Film Festival I went to a film that was a part of Fright Fest, which was a thing called Black Circle. And this was in Cinema 1. I don't know if any of you guys saw it, but it was absolutely rammed, and I thought immediately, who is turning out on a Friday night to see some obscure, you know, Swedish, low budget horror film that was shot in 12 days? Well, I'll tell you, the place was jammed. And I'm thinking, there is obviously, and Fright Fest itself, as you know, is massively popular. So I do think that you have tapped into something here which is very current and is, you said earlier that you've got a distributor on board, yeah?
Yeah, we do. There's a brand distributor who's very excitingly picked it up for distribution here, and we will hopefully see it later this year. Yeah, it's just amazing to have that kind of response to something that we, as you know, shot very quickly and.
Well, tell us a wee bit about the production process.
Well, so I should say, Grant had found the script from Ben, the writer, and had a producer, Stephen, who's not here at the moment, but he was the other main producer. And I got involved because I was working with Stephen at the time, and I was like, "What are you looking for?" Oh, I could help, you know, and got involved. And actually, as it worked out, we were both working day jobs on another show at the time, and
Outlander.
No, don't tell any about that.
Don't shame in that, people. It's honest toil. It really is.
It's toil. Well, Stephen and I work on Outlander together, but with Grant. But we it was in between seasons, so I think I was doing 1 day a week, whatever. And Stephen would come to work. He would cook all the food for the shoot. This was March 2017. We shot the film. We shot it over 9 days.
Wow.
8 days were in the house that you see, and 1 day was here at the CCA.
I was going to ask about the house. How did you secure such a great location?
Just through family. We were very lucky that we had access to it, and it's
Yeah.
in Perthshire. It wasn't too far. It's very difficult on a low budget to shoot not in a city where everyone's from, because you want to, you know, ScotRail don't sponsor low budget filmmaking with their train fares and their be wonderful.
Very true, very true.
But yeah, no, the house was incredible to film in, and that was 8 days of the shoot, and then the last day was what you saw of the exhibition space and the where they first meet and agree to the residency, and that was here, that was upstairs and on the front steps, and everything else was in the house.
It's really, really amazing. I mean, I take my hat off to you, I really do. And I wanted to ask a wee bit about the casting process and how you made those decisions.
That was, I mean, we really just tried very hard to get incredible actors, and we did, with Victoria and Lindsay Ann, I think. Hello.
Yeah, and I'd like to say, they're both in the audience.
Yeah.
No, I loved your performances. I have to say, it was really great.
I think your performances are
they're pitch
unbelievable.
perfect, they really are.
Yeah.
Because something like that, because we're not talking about Ken Loach here, we're talking about a certain strain of, it's a heightened thing, isn't it, Grant? You'd say that, you know, that it is almost, I wouldn't say it's melodramatic, but it's kind of heading in that way. But there's also a real restraint at the same time. So I thought you balanced it pretty perfectly. So thank you.
When you've
well
not
done.
got that many.
Let's hear it for that.
It's one thing to look at that, and if you'd had maybe 6 weeks to film it and multiple takes and multiple rehearsal times, it's very different when actually you're going through 11 pages a day, 12 pages a day. And I mean, something that definitely helped with that was having at least half the crew in the camera department. Simon Vickery, our DP, was incredible for getting performances in, you know, you just don't have that many setups available to you because you can't light multiple setups, you don't have time for multiple setups. So,
and even shooting a reverse on some of these things, you know, that's like a reason.
Precious time.
It's very precious time.
So really well done on that. And then there were a lot, as you know, there's huge amounts of other formats. And that
I wanted to ask about that because, I mean, Grant should really be sitting here where I'm sitting and explaining himself to you guys about why the decisions about the different formats. I mean, was it a very conscious thing on your part, or was it an expedient thing? What was it?
Yeah, we had a plan which just to have little layers of reality, because there's lots of elements of sort of voyeurism in it. So we had a little plan that each format would range from 35mm down to like home process Super 8. So we had rules set for them, but then we started changing them later on, so the audience wouldn't really know whether they were watching.
And were these supposed to represent a different sort of POV or perspective? Yeah.
Part sort of POV and part archive as well. Just wanted to confuse the audience.
Not confused, maybe unsettled.
Unsettled, yeah.
Disquiet feelings.
But it was actually a burden because all the film formats we had to have in the film as well, so we had to process the film ourselves, which Lucas and other people did. And
it was incredible. You know, when I read that, I thought, yeah, what? Because I know some of you try to get a bit of Super 8 process.
Yeah, it was. It got a little bit hectic at times, just trying to. Everything was really based around the formats that we had to use because they were always going to be in the film. And Sorka, when she was operating the telecine, she was doing it in real time, so everything you see is in real time. And I just started having nosebleeds. I got so stressed trying to think.
Oh, wow.
But it's down to Olivia's schedule for that. We couldn't have done it without that schedule.
Olivia, I mean, you're obviously working over different kind of like budgets and schedules and things. Do you enjoy this way of working? I mean,
yes.
Yes, but I'm also a masochist. No, but I mean, do you really sort of? I mean, is there a point where you just go, nah, this is too much of a challenge for me, or do you sort of relish the challenge of trying to bring it in?
I absolutely love it. And before, I now work on a pretty well-funded television series, but I, prior to that, made a lot of short films and very, very low budget work. And the challenges are just different, and the pressures are different, and your priorities are different, and the relationship that you have with your crew and your cast is very different, because you're asking them, you're asking different things, or they're asking different things from you. And I suppose I could be more specific, but it's, in a way, they're different industries. A low budget, micro budget, you know, what grants and what a lot of people are doing is a different. Yeah, exactly. And if people haven't seen Ray's work, they must.
Because I know that Grant was quite keen when he asked me to do this, was to talk about the whole landscape for independent filmmaking generally in Scotland. I don't know how many of you in here are actually filmmakers. Can I get a wee? Oh, right, okay. Aye, good. Good luck with that. I mean, famously, I made a micro-budget feature back in the day, about 20 years ago, called One Life Stand, which went on to be quite a successful kind of thing. It was almost like a prototype for this thing called micro-budget filmmaking. In fact, my original budget for One Life Stand was adopted by Film London for their microwave scheme. And their microwave scheme is actually like double the budget that I had on my first film. So I was quite pleased about that. How do you, I mean, I'll be asking you guys if you've got any questions in a wee minute. I know that we're a bit pushed for time, but how do you see, I'm going to ask you this, Aimie, you're sort of hoping to progress into features. How do you think it's going to go for you? Would you be willing to work with engage with, say, public funders, or do you relish the independence, thinking I don't want anybody interfering with my idea, or being enabled?
I mean, we've been trying to get public funding anyway, and it hasn't happened yet, but one day. I haven't had public funding yet, so I don't think it's encroached upon my creativity, and I haven't had those constraints to deal with yet. So I couldn't honestly say at the moment. It's like if someone was happy enough to give me some money, I'd be like, oh my god, money, a budget. So yeah, I think it's hard to judge right now for me, but
when you see headlines like Mary Queen of Scots getting the red carpet treatment in a reception at Edinburgh Castle and all of that, does a bit of you just want to die? You think, why aren't you funding Indigenous filmmakers? Because this is my big thing, I'm always trying to shout for people who actually are based here, who are trying to work here, rather than incoming productions.
Yeah, I do feel like there should be more support for local filmmakers, because we are born and bred here and we want to create here. I know a lot of people who go off to London in search of greener pastures, and it's sort of like we're hemorrhaging talent because they're having to go elsewhere. So unless we can really support people, we're not going to have an industry to support at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I'm heartbroken when I see, because I mean, I've done the odd bit of teaching here and there, and when I speak to students, because when, I've been doing this for an awful long time, but say in the last 10, 15 years, you've seen more and more courses in film and media and all of that. And I'm thinking year on year, these people are coming out of these courses, and I worry that there's nowhere for them to go. Has anybody here been on a course, or that been part of that sort of promise that you might get a gig one day? Yeah.
Scottish Screen Network came into a master's class last year and said that the best chance that we would have to get a job in the film business was to get a driving licence or become an electrician.
Right.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. Where were you studying, if you don't mind me asking?
University.
Eh?
Glasgow University.
Oh, right, okay. I can't believe that, because I was asked at one point, I don't want to be too indulgent here, but Glasgow School of Art a couple of years ago asked if I would take part in an advisory thing, because Glasgow School of Art didn't have, they don't have a formal film course. And I was quite appalled on the day, because I went to this sort of closed meeting, and the first slide that went up in the morning was how much they could charge for the course. And I thought, what? And they couldn't even agree among themselves, whether this was going to be a vocational or a non-vocational course. And I thought, you guys would really have to get your act together, because are you just looking to get people coming from abroad who will pay even higher fees to do this course. And I think there's a real problem there, and also a disconnect between these institutions and the industry such as it is itself. I mean, you must have experience with this, Olivia.
I was just thinking that there's a difference between someone like Creative Scotland supporting filmmakers
Or Screen Scotland.
or Screen Scotland.
As it is
Yeah.
now.
There's a difference between them actually supporting people and it looking like they're supporting people, and they have to be very good at and they're not bad at trying to show what efforts they make and how much money they put in, but I part of me wishes it was that they just shouted more about events like this, about that they had a platform for every single low budget, micro budget film that gets made, that they just go, here we go, I'm doing this like cash, and that they go to film festivals and they tweet massively at every film festival that they send delegates to.
Sure.
If they're at Cannes and they're tweeting about how they're
I've
telling
seen
about
some of these people, their Instagram accounts where here am I lying by the swimming pool in San Sebastian.
You just want them to, you want to know that they're really.
And I'm not
promoting it.
kidding you. Yeah, I totally agree, because for instance, my last feature, is it hasn't had much of an outing, but it did play at Glasgow Film Festival last year, and it was subsequently programmed there, and it's done a handful of dates around the UK, including in London and Bristol and Dublin. And I won a BIFA award in December for a work that I made completely single-handedly. I had no money, no crew, nothing. And so I thought, for me personally, it's a great achievement. But trying to get acknowledgement from the funders here, even just to say, well done, good for you, but absolutely nothing.
And it's
by
hard
way
because
of that endorsement.
you don't want them to turn around at the end and be like, well done us and Scotland, look what we can take credit for, but it wouldn't hurt if it was part of a bigger
It would not kill
support.
them. I've got a film that's sitting in, the award-winning film that's sitting in a drawer at home, because there's nowhere for me to take the DCP. And I think there is also a problem with, like the whole cinema circuit here. You've got a lot of the regional RFTs, they are like the likes of the GFT or the Film House. And I think they could be doing a lot more to support guys like you and me to get independent films out there in front of an audience, because after all they're publicly funded as well, and I think it ought to be part of the remit to be seen to be supporting local filmmaking.
Yeah, it costs money. It just costs.
Does anybody have any points they'd like to make at this juncture?
I think that we all feel that more effort should be put into funding, but I'm just very new to this.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it was Grant's film that sort of inspired me to get more involved.
Yes.
But I think the reality of it is, for those of us that are in the independent side, we really do have to depend upon ourselves and our own networks just now.
Yes.
I don't think we can sort of we can sit and dream about getting funding, but the reality of it is, we've just got to get out there and do what we love doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I've given up. I mean, honestly, I have given up, because part of my objection is A, I don't like doing meetings, and as soon as you take the public coin, you're obliged to do these stupid, pointless meetings. And secondly, I actually don't want to enter a contract of bad faith, and my experience inevitably has been, you take in an idea, you take in a treatment, you take in a draft of a script even, and I don't even look for development, but if you are in that situation, quite often you'll have somebody, and this has happened to me, somebody said, in the case of my last film, Voyageuse, which is based around one character, and I did have a very early meeting with them about it, and they just said, we don't like that character. And I thought, well, I'm hiding to nothing, sayonara, and I walked out the door, and I just thought, I'm never going there again. And it's bewildering to me that filmmakers are expected to fulfil the aspirations of these public servants in terms of the content in ways that would never ever happen if you were a novelist or a visual artist, to dictate the content of the work. And to me that says it's bad faith. It's like you're starting at the very beginning from a position of bad faith. We don't trust you enough to actually fulfil it. If you had gone to public fund and said, we're going to make this film, we'll make it these actors in 9 days on these locations, they'd probably say, no, you won't. You know, are you off your head? And
Well, and they're allowed to, they're allowed
so
to
is there that
question
kind of
the-
bad faith? I find it's really off-putting, and that's why I don't want to engage.
Do you think that part and parcel of it is because they haven't put money into these micro-budget projects that, you know, they think, well, why should we support it because we've got nothing invested into it? Do you think that there's an attitude like that from them?
I don't actually know what the thing is. I know certainly when I did One Life Stand, the woman who produced that proposed to Scottish Screen, as it was at the time, she came up with a scheme called 10 for a Million, which was to make 10 feature films on budgets of 100,000, which is still, like in movie terms, nothing. You know, it's absolutely rock bottom budget. But to give 10 people the opportunity, like Aimie, to progress from a series of shorts into a feature, and that's been, and that's something that's continued through the whole sad, sorry history of the Scottish film industry. Is you've got filmmakers who make short upon short upon short, and there's a career bottleneck for them there because they can't be seen to progress to features.
Can I say, if your question is also about like investment and buy-in, it is a hard, because unlike visual moving image work or dance, it's a medium that's expected to yield a return. Or if you go to Hollywood, then it's a massively profitable thing.
I've got the great anecdote about that. ROI is a bogey. I gave a speech at Platform in Easterhouse when Creative Scotland were doing a massive review of all the various sectors, and I told them a story that in I think it was in 2004, 2005, I put an FOI in to ask Scottish Screen at the time what the return on investment was on Ken Loach's Sweet 16. In fact, all of Ken Loach's films that have had funding out of Scotland, and he's had let's say getting them for £3 million of public subsidy over the years for various films, and the answer came back and the letter said 0. And I said, well, if Ken Loach, one of Britain's greatest filmmakers, can't return on investment to the public purse, why are you asking us to do it? You know, when he's got distribution deals all worldwide for his work, and even within a UK territory, his films do return money, but. And I said, well, either they've negotiated a really shit deal in terms of recruitment, or you know, you're asking the impossible of all of us to try to make films that can wash their face commercially. But I actually think there should be a distinction, and I wish that the funders would take it on board, that not all films, in some way, not all films are equal, but in a way, all films are equal now because there's YouTube and there's Vimeo out there, and you can put your stuff on a platform. But it'd be really nice to get a payday as well. So I just wish that they would recognise that this is a valid form of filmmaking. If nothing else, it's about the culture. It's about who we are in Scotland, the stories that we have to tell, and the way that we want to tell them. And I just wish that there was an acknowledgement of that.
I think every other European country does do that. You know, you look at France with CNC. You look at what the Danish film industry did with.
And my friend who ran the new cinema fund in Copenhagen, and I had a weekend in Amsterdam, and I walked around a corner and I went, oh my God, there's a 4-storey building in Amsterdam called the Netherlands Film Institute. and meanwhile, I live in the south side, and every time I walk past Scottish Ballet, which to me looks like a Scandinavian jail, and there's no front door. This is a publicly funded institution, and we can't even get an office, in a porter cabin to run the Scottish film industry. Go figure. So, anybody get anything else they'd like to say? Yes.
Just to sort of focus on Portrait a little bit, because I think I know that it wasn't publicly funded, but what's been achieved, I think, with the limited funding and self-funding, it's quite incredible.
It is,
and
absolutely.
There's many aspects to that. It's of course camera, it's Grant's vision, it's the script. One thing I want to ask a little bit about is more on the casting, because that is something that often distributors and funders will look at as who have you cast, and that will often determine how they're going to. So how did you secure such sort of great female talent on a micro-budget film?
It was links. It was friendly links to agents of some of the cast, and just really lucky. And I mean, the script was great. Is great, and I don't know, I mean, we should ask Victoria whether you read the script and you were like, yep, I'll do it for peanuts, or whether how you decided to get involved. I don't know.
It just looked like an amazing challenge. I knew we had such little time.
Which was maybe a benefit? Or?
Yeah, and also I think as an actor I thought, go for it, that scares me shitless. So if it scares me I should do it, because then it's gonna, you know, it's something towards my craft of seeing what I'm capable of and what I'm not capable of. You know, and that
And how else are you going to find out but to just throw,
yeah, but to
throw
do it,
yourself
I
in?
know, and
Yeah.
I could have been scared and thought, I can't do that in 9 days, and I thought, no, do it, this is, you know, and we were treated beautifully, and we
Yeah.
were taken care of beautifully, and it was great, it was a lovely experience.
Good.
I'm looking at Lindsay Ann, seeing if she...
Yeah, the same, you know, it was just such a lovely experience, and I think it's, I suppose, to come to the question regarding sort of the money and the funding and all that thing, it's not always about that and a payday, it's about the art, and it is such a lovely script and how it was going to be filmed and how it was talked about and all that sort of stuff that, yeah, it was just a lovely opportunity when it came up.
Right.
And it was a great experience.
I'm going to ask Olivia, so obviously you've got hopes for this film. What do you think? Do you think it's going to play around the UK? It's going to go wider than that? Or festivals? What's the prospect?
Well, it played at a film festival a couple of weeks ago.
That was Manchester.
Manchester, yeah. And hopefully it will go to quite a few more film festivals. And I mean, cinema is amazing, but I think that online platforms, platforms like Mubi, you know, obviously Netflix, and there's a lot of incredible online curation where you can, you know, there's
I'm investigating that for myself at the moment. Yeah.
And there's either Mubi is 30 films at any one point, Netflix is 1 million films at any one point, but a lot of the time you really respect the calibre of the films that are chosen, of all sorts of budgets, and just excited about where we might see it online as well as Grant as well.
And what's next? What have you got in the works?
Well, I think Grant's making another film very soon. I am working with a couple of other writer-directors, one from Inverness and one from Edinburgh, and
What about you, Aimie? What's the next project?
Well, I actually ended up going back into education. That's where I bumped into Grant and how I got involved in this wonderful screening today. So I need to graduate again, but I've got a 10-minute horror short film that we're making in the summertime.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I wish you every success. And
what about you, mate?
What have you got next? I can't really talk much about my next film because I've started shooting it already. I haven't finished the script yet. I'm nuts. And the thing is, I'm not getting any younger. Right, I never said this. I'm actually making a film in Glasgow at the moment. It's in German. It's called Tilo in Wirklichen Leben. It's based on Grimm's fairy tales, and it's about a shopping trolley that gets lost and has a series of adventures which lead to the demise of consumer capitalism. It's also quite seriously, it's about young male depression as well, and I think that because I've got even less money than you guys, so the shopping trolley is ideal casting for me. I've got two, I've got a stand-in as well. from Lidl. And they're in my kitchen at the minute. And they're really useful because you can put your kit in the trolley and just wheel it a bit, and I get all around the city. So I'm doing that, and I'm hoping that I can get it all sort of shot by the end of the summer. And by that time, hopefully I'll have finished the script. But I'm doing an English language version and I'm doing a German version because I thought I might as well exploit the 100 million German speakers that are out there. And plus it's a connection to Grimm's fairy tales. So, but I just hope it's going to be surprising for people. If everyone sees it like a day, I don't care, I just like making them. I'm at that stage. Alright, does anybody else got anything they want to say or ask? Okay, well I think that's us done here. Can I just thank you all once again? I'd like to thank Grant and Olivia and Aimie for their contributions.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And it's been, thank you.